intercultural, we say why we call it intercultural. For intercultural training or awareness, competence to be very effective, we always encourage, even in a workshop, to have the two cultures comes together. It cannot be like, okay, you need to change, you adapt to this. The other side will also need to change and learn to adapt to that. That's why we say integrations is very important, and then leverage. Yeah, leverage. So the sad case is that right now, a lot of organizations, when they do intercultural training, they often just put one group of people and then tell them to learn about the culture of, for example, China. You do this, do that. You don't do this, you don't do that. Yeah, yes. That is what I've seen a lot of, because I work with some mobility companies, some they send their expatriates to Beijing, Shanghai as well. And often it's just one-sided. So I always tell them it has to be two parties together to talk.
Yes.
You need to come and talk, to have a dialogue, so that you know where are the differences, what are the differences, and how do we reconcile, or how do we integrate and leverage. Yeah, absolutely great point, Yannick. You brought that out. Fantastic.
What I find interesting as well, if I may, is for the longest time, if I may put it this way, it was foreigners coming over here. Now it's a bloodbath because everybody or a lot are leaving. And it is the case where the Chinese community is now moving overseas, with big companies at the beginning, and now it's smaller companies or medium-sized companies. And they go to Europe. I mean, I have a quick example, but they go to Europe with their own background, like we would do on our side. And the clash is even bigger, because I think depending as well on the age of the managers going over there, the Mianzi is not helping them to to be open to a local culture or local way of doing business. It's not because you bring a big present when you go to Europe, especially Northern Europe, that you're going to get automatically the business. On the contrary, they will take the present, but back to the office, it will be business only.
Yes, absolutely. You nailed that. Yes. So far, to be honest, the Chinese companies, the big companies that I've been involved in, helping them to go overseas, like Southeast Asia, Europe, US, to set up branches, subsidiaries, it's still very minimum in a cultural training. It's still very, very, very minimum. Yeah, I understand what you mean. Yes. Thank you, Yannick. Thank you. Great. Yep. So let's get back to this cultural orientations framework. Yep. So here we measure the diversity, how diverse we are in our team. Okay. So I'll give you an example, time management approach. In this, we talk about scarcity and plentiful, right? So here, time management approach, there are 3 dimensions. Oops, sorry. Let me get my pen marker here. So we have 3 dimensions: scarcity versus plentiful, monochronic, polychronic, past, present, and future. So I'm going to just give you one example. I'm just mindful of the time. So when we say scarce time, scarce means you wanted to do a lot of tasks within a period of time. This is your preference. It's not right or wrong. It's a matter of preference, all right? It's a matter of preference. We all have different preferences. And plentiful, it's the preference of time is a lot, time is abundant, relax. Yeah. So if you have to work with team members that is having a plentiful time preference and you are in a scarce time, how would that feel for you? CJ, you have any experience like that?
Oh man, a lot. I think if you're coming from Malaysia, I think that really feels like that there are certain groups of people with a very plentiful mindset, and it's okay. I mean, we still have 5 more minutes. 5 minutes is a long time, right? So, the guys with scarcity time will try to push people to do more in a shorter time. The guys with a plentiful mindset will actually what do you call push back and say that why are you so anxious? Why are you so pushy? Right, and people actually get conflicts because of just how they view things are being done.
Mm, mm. Thank you so much, CJ, for sharing that. Awesome. Yes. So if you have team member that who are plentiful, you may feel like you are just pulling the team down. You are inefficient. All right. You are making us embarrassed because you will make us miss the project deadline. Yeah. And the plentiful team member will think, oh my God, I'm so stressed. You just give me too much stress. I cannot work with you. I cannot work with you. Yeah. So in this case, we have diversity here. Yeah. So, and then how do we create inclusion? This is a team profile, an example of the team profile. You see this team on the top here, it measures your preference, right? This team is leaning towards scarcity. That means more than half of the people are viewing time as, come on, we don't have time. Come on, right? And then the bottom here, it measures ability. How capable you are to adjust from your own preference to the other preference. All right, so that's the beauty of the COF. So in this case, we have about 40% of the people not able or having difficulty, poor, limited or fair, having difficulty to adjust to scarce time. That means your team member who are at the plentiful here, finding it difficult to work in this team because it's too fast. And there are 38% of them in the scarce time, finding it difficult to work with the plentiful team member. You are just too slow. I don't want to work with you. Right? So this is the first step. We manifest the diversity. Let it show it up from the invisible diversity to become explicit right now. Right? So, so once you make it explicit, then you will talk about how do we actually make an inclusion, right? In this case, we will have the team dialogue to talk about what are the benefits of being scarce. Can you think of what is the benefits of scarce preference? You can input into the chat box. Oh, CJ, please.
On time, on target, every time.
One time, one target, and you meet the deadline, right? You meet the target. Yes, efficiency, right? Scarce, the benefits or the merits of scarce preference is the productivity, efficiency. And what is the one benefits of plentiful?
You have less stress.
Less stress, yeah, exactly. We human, we cannot all the time be on a high speed running like a bullet train. We cannot. Our mind needs to rest. So the plentiful time team member will always, we can leverage them, they can remind us to slow down so that we won't miss out the detail when we need to make big decisions. The plentiful time team member will tell the team, hang on, guys, slow down. Let's take a look at clearly anything that we missed out. All right, so that is how we
mentioned in the chat box. Get it right first, then do it fast later.
Thanks, Derek. Great. Yes, right and then fast. All right. Okay. So that is the example of one of the dimension time management, scarce and plentiful. Right. So in the assessment, we measures again the preferences on the left and then the ability on the right. Right. It's a self-assessment. You will need to rate yourself according to your own viewpoint. Right. So in viewing of the time, not going into any breakout room activities. So I'm going to just This is just another example on the sense of power and responsibility. I'm just mindful of the time. Maybe I will stop it here and then take any questions, any challenges that you want me to address. I think that would be, would that be the helpful?
Sure. Okay. First thing first. Let me share the QR code.
Let me stop sharing the screen then.
Okay. We may have to share back the what you call your screen later, but
Sure.
yeah. So this is a group. So if you want to join a group, I think we have already about 11 people in the group. So if you want to continue the networking, as unfortunately Kevin is not in the group. I think he has left. But feel free to scan and join a group, especially if you want to exchange notes on how are you guys doing D&I, how are we doing D&I, is there a better way to manage expectations and roll out and implement D&I in our respective companies. Right, so if you want to, you can scan. I have 5 more seconds. And okay. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Right. Yeah, Peggy can share your PPT while we are taking any further questions or comments, be it about implementing, rolling out D&I in your respective companies, or even what Victoria mentioned about how do you deal with situations where you're in a very hierarchical culture, a lot of power distance in the company. How do you make the bosses realize that they need to listen more? Okay, before that, Yannick say, I see lots of similarities with change management. John Kotter or Prosy models quite follows the Milton Burnett approach. I know John Kotter, I don't know who the other guys are. Yannick, I'll pay if you know who the other 2 guys are. You may want to comment. If not, I'll just ask Yannick to elaborate further.
Milton Burnett is the IDI, the Intercultural Development Continent that we talk about. Yeah, there are similarity. I would say the difference for the Milton Burnett approach is more talking about the mentality, the response side. Yeah, and again, because we are talking about change here, right? So it somehow has some link there. Yeah.
Maybe you want to elaborate a little bit more? Why would you agree that DEI is an approach of change management? Unmute if it's too many things to type.
Kelly?
Hi. Yeah. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Because recently in our company we are thinking about how to manage the change during our merging and acquisition, those kind of practices. So we think D&I is a good way for us to start from, because it's a kind of a culture, as you just mentioned, awareness, appreciations. And it's highly aligned with the mindset change. And I also really appreciate the behavioral things you mentioned. There are 3 levels. So I'm thinking about maybe we could start from cognitive, or not cognitive, behavioral change to gradually move to cognitive change. So this is what I'm thinking about. So I think it's highly aligned with change management, its approach.
Yes. Thank you, Kelly. Yes, absolutely. Totally agree. Especially you mentioned about culture, merger and acquisitions. Yes. In this case, I involved in merger and acquisition as well, helping organizations on cultural integration, we call it. And organization nowadays doing culture integration, they always have one key value in the integration, that is inclusion. How do I be more inclusive? For the newcomer that comes to join our culture, we can collectively create a new set of culture. Yeah. How can I involve them? Yeah, so there's culture integrations part. Right. Okay, any other questions?
The case about mergers and acquisitions that I personally came across was Saudi Basic Industries. So it's a Saudi Arabian state-owned company dealing with polymers and basic plastics. They acquired GE, General Electric Plastics, right? So you have a state-owned company where everybody just do a job. You just go to work on time. You just get off on time. And it's also very highly power distance, highly hierarchical. Just listen to your bosses. You are promoted by seniority. Okay, and that's that. And then you have General Electric, right? General Electric is everything based on scarcity of time. Everything is based on targets. Everything based on meritocracy and who's got the best ideas, who can actually make things happen, rather than your seniority. So on the one hand, it's like a very laid back, relaxed, just do whatever you need to do. The other one is if you don't meet your targets, you'll be fired. Right? And yeah, it's quite challenging to actually put the two of them into one single entity.
Yes, yes, yes. Great example, CJ, great example. Yeah. And according to many research from the science point, right, the biggest failure for merger and acquisition is actually culture, right? Fail to integrate the culture part. Yeah, it's not about finance. It's not about operation. It's not about the money. It's a people, right? The people cannot talk, basically. Yeah, cannot work together.
Great. Any further questions? Peggy, if I may, can switch to the last slide because we got a QR codes over there. so this is different QR codes. So if you're still on the line, this is our WeChat 公众号订阅号. So if you want to have information about future activities, if you want to have we also share some of our session recordings, whether it's this or previous video recordings of our previous workshops. We will be what they call sharing weekly updates on every Tuesday. So if you want to, you can scan and add us as our as part of a WeChat, right? And thank you. Again, can we have a round of applause if you can unmute and clap?
Thank you everyone for your engagement and also sharing your thoughts, sharing your challenges. Thank you so much. And yep, I wish you all the best in your diversity, equity, inclusion journey.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you, David. Thank you, Alicia. Thank you, Lucy. Thank you, Edith.
Let me
Victoria.
Take a photo. Let me take a photo. Can unshare, and I'll see if I can take a photo.
Oh, sure.
Whoever's
all right.
left.
All right. And any question?
Yeah, only a few of us. So, okay. Got more and more people now.
You can turn on your video.
Okay, 1, 2, sorry, hang on a second. Okay, ready, 1, 2, 3. Okay, great.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Okay, bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Yannick.
Bye.